I like the rock and roll music and I like to dance the cha-cha-cha. I like the rock and roll music.
Hello, this is AU Pop, a production of the Aurora University Communications Program. We're the source for everything in the world of pop culture. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jessica. This episode, we will have a hate it, love it debate on the hot topic of living on campus versus living off campus. We'll talk to Hannah Auck and Kara Hahn about their opinions and experiences of going to school at AU. Following that lively debate, we will explore the world of ultimate Frisbee with an in-depth interview with Nick Brown. We will finish the show with the top 5 side dishes that make or break a Thanksgiving feast. But first, here's Alex with the Pop Roundup.
In the music world, Britney Spears just recently released the track list for her new album, Britney Jean. And a bonus for all the dedicated members of the Britney Army, the album will feature artists T.I. and Britney's little sister, Jamie Lynn Spears. In other pop news, Lady Gaga recently released her new album, Art Pop, and critics are raving about it. But not everyone is on board with Lady Gaga. In a 2-hour interview with Howard Stern, Gaga explained that she has been a target from music sensation Madonna. Gaga explained that all started because they are saying that Gaga has taken the torch from Madonna and is a newer, better version of the old her. Finally, the top 12 contestants of The Voice were announced on Tuesday. The results from America's Vote have put Team Adam and Team Blake in the lead, leaving Team Christina and Team CeeLo fighting to stay in the competition.
In the latest celebrity news, Miley Cyrus is at it again, showing that when it comes to rules of society, she could care less. As if destroying the wholesomeness of the foam finger, coming on stage not wearing pants, and turning sledgehammers into lollipops wasn't enough of an example, she topped herself at the 2013 European Music Awards by lighting up a joint on stage. She is not the only former child star making questionable decisions. Justin Bieber's new hobby, graffitiing the sides of hotels across his South American tour, has left him facing vandalism charges. On the other hand, for all of you who are keeping up with the Kardashians, you're in luck. The family will be releasing a Christmas special that is set to air on December 1st.
In the sports scene, many teams are facing issues of injury and drama. The Chicago Bulls' Derrick Rose suffered a minor injury in the Bulls' victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers on Monday the 11th. With a little under 4 minutes left in the game, Rose was taken out with what is being called a minor right hamstring injury. After the injury, Rose has been announced as day-to-day. Rose is not the only man down in Chicago. Bears quarterback Jay Cutler and cornerback Charles Tillman have both been sidelined with injuries. Cutler will be out a couple weeks due to a high ankle sprain he suffered against the Detroit Lions, while Tillman, who has been placed on injury reserve with a designation to return because of what doctors are calling a torn right tricep, Tillman will be inactive for at least 8 weeks. However, not all Chicago teams are suffering losses. The Chicago Blackhawks have finally agreed to terms with forward Andrew Shaw. Shaw signed a contract to stay with the team for another 2 seasons. A member of the 2013 Stanley Cup championship team, Shaw is currently ranked 6th on the Blackhawks with 11 points this season. Now we have another regular feature here on AU Pop, the Hate It, Love It debate. On each episode, we will have 2 passionate proponents debate the merits of some issue in the pop culture or media world. I'll throw it over to Jessica, who will be moderating this debate.
Thanks, Alex. I'm here with Hannah Auck and Kara Hahn, where we'll talk about the issue of living on campus versus living off campus here at AU. So which one are you? Do you live off campus or on campus?
Yep, I live off campus.
And you live on campus,
Correct.
obviously. Okay, so what would you say is the best part of living off campus?
I think it's just generally more fun. You get your own kitchen, and it's also cheaper. So.
What about on campus? Do you like living on campus?
I love living on campus. It's very convenient. A lot of your meals are already prepared for you. You can wake up 5 minutes before class and still get there on time. It's just convenience that is really nice about it.
So what are the cost differences, would you guys say? Do you think it's better to live off campus because of the money, or is it harder to live off campus because it's more expensive?
It's a little bit harder. It's cheaper in the long run, but you do have to pay bills, in all of your roommates' names. So, then you have to, divide it by, obviously, how many you're living with. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you live on campus, you don't have any bills to pay at all, so.
Yeah, and then, so the issue of roommates. Do you have more roommates living off campus versus living on campus?
On campus, it varies depending on what room you live in. You can have up to 3 or even 5. But the average is about, you just have one roommate. You live in small quarters, just you and another roommate. So there is more possibility of tension and problems to arise. But it's nice to have someone to live with. You always have a friend there, and you always have you have a good time living with a roommate.
I say it's a little bit different. Like you're living in one house, and then you have your kitchen, which you all share. So you have to be like conservative about what other people want. But then you get your own room, so that's nice because you don't have to share like your actual things with other people, like in space wise. So.
Okay, so like going back to like the living quarters, what do you think? Why do you think that? Do you like living in a small quarter on campus, and then you obviously have a bigger house that you live in? So what do you think is?
Well, it has its benefits than otherwise. Benefits are, you know, you really get close with this person. They usually become a really good friend of yours, and it's nice to get to know living with someone else. But you have to share things. You have to get used to what their personality is and when they go to bed, and you have to be respectful of, you know, what time they go to bed, what time they get up, and if they want to work on their homework. So there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration with living so closely with another person. But otherwise, and it's really nice to have someone always in the room with you, and that you build that friendship.
I still think like you become close with like your roommates too, because just because you don't like live in the same room, you still like share like a lot of like the living room and the kitchen and the bathroom and like the basement, the yard. Like you still have like joined responsibilities, so and they're always there too. So I mean, just because they're not in your room, you still see them around the house and everything. Like, so you still spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. So you think that you spend a lot of time equally off campus than on campus?
I would say so.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about community bathrooms on campus? How do you like that?
Well, it's definitely something to get used to. Obviously, when you're growing up, you have your own bathroom to yourself. You can shut the door. You have the shower, the sink, and the bathroom to yourself. So it's definitely a transition to your freshman year. But I've lived in the dorms for 4 years now, and you just get used to it. That's really all it is. You just get used to it. It's really nothing to me at this point. I'm a senior, so I've dealt with it for 4 years, and they're your friends on the floor. So you just use it for what it's used for, and it's nothing more than that.
Yeah. And then you lived on campus, didn't you?
Correct. And I would say like I did like how they clean the bathrooms for you, like. Because, I mean, with our, like, busy schedules, it's hard to, like, keep the bathroom, like, super clean as everyone would want it. So then you're, like, everyone's doing a little bit, and then you have one person doing more than the others. Just try to keep everything clean. So it's a little bit more difficult, but you don't have to share with, like, 25 girls like you do. So.
Yeah, that definitely gets a little frustrating at times, just because everybody has their own little... Everybody's different, so sometimes you might find some hair in the showers, or sometimes some people don't clean up after themselves. And sometimes that gets a little frustrating because, again, like even on my floor, there's 36 girls. Wow. It's hard to keep the bathroom clean enough for that many girls. So.
Yeah. And how many people do you live with? How many people do you share a bathroom with?
There's 5 people in my house right now.
Okay. And how many bathrooms do you guys have?
We have 2 bathrooms, but 1 shower. So.
Oh, okay. So you have to work that out. So how about parking? Do you guys walk to campus, or do you have a car? How's the parking situation for you guys?
I walk to campus because I live like just only like 3 blocks over, so I don't really park on campus. I don't think I've parked on campus yet this semester, so it's kind of nice. I save gas that way, as opposed to if I lived like really far away, then I would have to drive obviously, and then struggle with finding parking. So it's nice.
Well, I have a car on campus, and there's always that struggle of finding a parking spot. I mean, as an AU student, that's something that just comes with being a student and having a car. But it's the nice thing about living on campus and having a car is usually you come back to campus at times where commuters aren't on campus, so usually there's more spots to choose from. Like I usually come back on Sunday night for spending the weekend at home or something like that, and the commuters usually aren't there on a Sunday night. They come on the Mondays, but our cars are already parked there. So it's a struggle, but it's not that bad. You at least find one parking spot. It just stinks when you have to park in the far parking lot when the closed parking lot is full.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, so food situation. Do you have a meal plan living off campus? Do you have a meal plan?
I
obviously
do.
Living on campus. Do you have one off campus?
No.
Like how do you deal with cooking your own food or?
Yeah, I don't have a meal plan, and I didn't really like the food. Like the school offers, so like I really like having my own kitchen and cooking my own food, and like then again like it's another bill to pay like monthly or in my case weekly, but so like in cooking in my own like kitchen I have to like find time to do it. Like if I'm rushing around between like work and school and sports, like it's kind of difficult, but I mean I really like it in the long run.
And do you coordinate with like your roommates about who's gonna cook what night, or do you guys have to like, I don't know, share food, or how does that work with your roommates?
like when I lived in the dorms, we did share food between me and my one roommate, but now that I live in a house, we don't share any food. Like we can obviously offer food up and everything, but we don't cook together or anything because our schedules are just way too busy.
Okay.
It's really nice living on campus and having a meal plan. If you're hungry at any time, you just go to the cafe or you go to the spot or the cart, and there's always food available. So it's always available for you, which is nice. But then there's also some negatives where we really can't cook our own food. Sometimes I would just like to bake a pizza in an oven, but I don't have that option because I live in the dorms. So there is a lot of variety, especially at the caf. I enjoy the food. I think there's always a good variety, and you'll always find something that you like. But it'd definitely be nice to make your own food sometimes. So we don't have that option, unfortunately.
Yeah. And you said you didn't like the food at all?
No, I didn't think there was that much variety when I lived on campus, and I just didn't really like how it tastes or anything. So.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'll throw it over to Alex where we'll have the pop chat. Thank you.
There is an abundance of sports here at Aurora University. That could be why half the students that attend Aurora University are athletes. The sports at Aurora University range from football to golf. Along with a wide range of sports offered at Aurora University, there are also student organizations that involve sports. Ultimate Frisbee is a student organization that offers students the opportunity to play Ultimate Frisbee. Ultimate Frisbee is a game where the objective is to catch a Frisbee on the opposite end of the field of your opponent. It's the kind of like football, except with a Frisbee instead of a football. And of course, Ultimate Frisbee has its own set of rules. Today we have Nick Brown, who is a member of the Ultimate Frisbee student organization. How are you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing great. So we kind of gave an example of what Ultimate Frisbee is, but is there more to it? Like, is there more to just kind of throwing the Frisbee around? Is there more to the game?
When you said that it's a lot like football, that's a really good comparison, but also soccer, just because it's no contact and soccer has minimal contact. Honestly, they're about one and the same. The only thing is there's actually different strategies and defenses that you can set up opposed to just throwing a Frisbee from one person to another and trying to see who can get to the other goal. But I think the learning the strategy and learning how to play comes just with playing the game.
And you said that it's like football, but there's really no contact in it, so it's kind of more like soccer that way? Or how do you stop an opponent then?
The contact rules, like there is absolutely no contact, but you can be pretty much up in their face, and if they don't get rid of the disc for 10 seconds, which is kind of the standard rule, then it just gets turned over. And then there's always interceptions and just things like that. So, and if they drop it, it goes to the other team. So.
Oh. Okay, so is Ultimate Frisbee kind of like a continuous play, or is there like any stoppages involved?
The actual rules of it are 2 20-minute halves with a 10-minute halftime. But when we play here, we just kind of set a score, and first to get to that score and win by 2 is gonna always that's how the game ends. So we started playing my freshman year, and we've had games that have gone probably 3 or 4 hours because we just keep going back and forth and can't win by 2. So it's been a lot of fun playing that here with the guys.
So this is an organization. How exactly did it start? Like, was there just a group of people who wanted to play, or how exactly did that start? Do you even know?
Yeah, freshman year it was me, Pietro Alfano, and Bryce Quinn. We all lived on the same floor, and we were just kind of sick of sitting inside and playing Call of Duty every single night. So when the weather started to get warm second semester, we ended up going outside and just throwing a Frisbee around, and a lot of the guys on the floor kind of saw what we were doing and thought that it was really cool. So we got out and we started getting a team together, and when we first started playing, we had 8 guys just comprised of the people on our floor, and we would start playing at 11 o'clock at night, and there were days that we didn't come in until 3 in the morning. So we had a lot of fun in that regard. But then kind of as the years went on, we kept doing it, and we thought, you know, this would be kind of cool if we could get a club going, or if we can get an organization where we get to competitively play other people, because at the time we were just playing ourselves every night and kind of divvying up the teams 4 and 4, and then we just wanted more competition. So kind of started in that regard.
So can you play by different rules? Like, are there deviations that can be made in the rules? Like, you can like make a different game, like a different kind of rule, or is it pretty much always the same kind of rules?
No, there's deviations you can make. Like, I'm sure you could make it contact if you wanted to, and there's been nights, especially when it's rainy, where we've done that, where you can slide across the quad and tackle each other and get muddy. I mean, we've had a lot of fun doing that. But for the most part, the only real variation is like playing to a certain score instead of playing it timed. And then the typical length of the field is 100 yards, just like in football. 80 play and then two 20-yard end zones or 10-yard end zones. But you know, you can set your own size, you know, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's.
So do you guys really only play on the quad, or have you ever tried to move to like different locations to play?
We haven't found anywhere else to play. I know we've played on the field a couple times just when it was available. But then this year, the intramurals at Aurora, they actually did ultimate Frisbee, and we were playing at West Aurora's field house.
Awesome.
And that was a lot of fun, and there was actually another team, so we got to competitively play against someone else for the first time in a long time. So that was a lot of fun.
So do you have like set teams, or do you really only play like pickup games?
It's really only pickup games right now. We want to get involved with North Central has an intramural Frisbee team, and I believe Wabansie also does. I'm not sure about that, but I think they do. So it'd be kind of cool if we could get our teams to coordinate and maybe actually start to have either weekly or bi-weekly games where we can compete against other schools and other teams.
Oh, okay, very cool. So if somebody wanted to join the team or wanted to start playing, like, do they just come out, or do you guys have like were you at the involvement fair at all, or do you just kind of go out and play, and if anyone wants to come play, they can come?
Yeah, that's typically how we've done it. We haven't really thought about the involvement fair, but I'm sure that's something that we would be willing to do. But usually we just play at night, and if there's kids walking on the quad and they want to come out and play, then we get them in. So we've had, I know there were two kids at the beginning of the year that saw us playing. I think they're both freshmen, and they started playing, and now we go to them whenever we need an extra guy or something like that. So it's building. Like, we're actually getting a bunch of people to want to play.
Now, how many players are on a team? Because I don't know a ton about how Ultimate Frisbee is actually played. Is there 10 guys, 5 guys? How exactly does it work?
Typically it's 6-on-6
Okay.
is what the standard is, but you can play with as many as you want. But the bigger the field, the more people, you know, it makes sense. So when we play on the quad, we'll usually do 4-on-4, because when you do 6-on-6, it just gets too cluttered and it's almost impossible to play.
So by cluttered, you mean there are too many players in one area, or is it because when you're saying soccer, I imagine it being a little more spread out. So is the game kind of more altogether like football, or is it more spread out like soccer?
It's probably more spread out like soccer, because there's no real plays that you run. You just try and get open. I mean, you're running everywhere just to do what you can to get rid of the disc to somebody. So I guess the more people you are, the less space there is.
Okay, and I guess one kind of final question. Do you feel kind of proud of what was happening with Ultimate Frisbee? Because I know it wasn't necessarily something you wanted to start as an organization, but it's become something more than that. So are you kind of happy with it and hope that it continues on after you're done here at AU?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I really like playing it. It's not something that you have to be super talented at a sport to do. It's just something you can really pick up and learn. So the fact that we started out just doing something as small as playing on the quad at night and it's turning into an actual organization is just really cool. It's a really interesting thing.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for being here today. All right, before we go, we have our final segment, the Pop Top 5. This is where we chart the top 5 something as decided by our producers and writers. Feel free to agree or disagree with our picks. This week we surveyed AU students to see what the Thanksgiving side dishes make this hungry holiday so great. You might need to stop in the kitchen after this episode of the Top 5 Countdown, as AU students have spoken, and today we will be counting down the top 5 dishes served at Thanksgiving dinner. Aside from the main dishes, whether it's ham or turkey, the side dishes can make or break a Thanksgiving feast. The number 5 side dish on our countdown is a nice hot dish of sweet potatoes. A cousin to the normal potatoes, sweet potatoes, as the name suggests, have a sweeter taste and are commonly cooked with brown sugar and marshmallows to enhance the sweetness even more.
Our number 4 must-have Thanksgiving side dish is the underrated but highly necessary roll. Whether it's wheat, white, or rye, or any other different flavor, a nice warm roll fresh out of the oven is a perfect addition to any plate.
Number 3 on our countdown is the classic mashed potatoes. This dish can easily be dressed by adding garlic, butter, sour cream, or any other preferred condiment. But if you want to stick with the basic, a simple drizzle of gravy on your mashed potatoes will do the trick.
The second most popular side dish to have at Thanksgiving is stuffing, or as some call it, dressing. Often cooked in or along with the turkey, this dish is known for having plenty of flavor and can spice up any plate.
The number 1 item on our countdown this week, as decided by AU students, is the classic green bean casserole. This combination of perfectly cooked green beans with the crunchy onion crisps is the top of a very popular choice at any table. So, Jessica, I am kind of disappointed that cranberry sauce was left off the
Me
list.
too. That's probably my favorite.
I would think that would be number one, other than the roll, which
The roll.
I think the roll is probably my absolute favorite. But I can't
Yes.
believe that AU students don't think that
And what about desserts?
Yeah,
Apple
seriously,
pie,
pumpkin pie?
pumpkin pie.
green bean casserole is
Yeah.
better than pumpkin pie. I have to disagree with that. Some people at
Yes.
AU obviously don't really have it together when it comes to that. But so do you always do like a family style Thanksgiving?
I do. Yes, we eat so much food. I am so full by the next day. And we always have leftovers too. We eat them for weeks.
Oh, you have to make sandwiches with like Miracle Whip or mayonnaise,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
And I mean that's just the way to go.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of AU Pop. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
So we're supposed to keep talking.
I like the rock and roll music and I like to dance the cha-cha-cha. I like the rock and roll music and I like to dance the cha-cha-cha. I got the mambo fever and I like to sing a sing-a-ling. I like the rock and roll music and I like to dance the cha-cha-cha.